Angel Reese doesn't have talent. Well, Casey, that's not true. Angel Reese is amazing! She's a double-double machine! She's one of the top rebounders in the WNBA!
The cameras were rolling, the arena lights blazed, and 20,000 fans packed into the United Center for what was hyped as a historic night for women's basketball. No Caitlin Clark. No excuses. This was Angel Reese's stage, primetime, national TV, and the biggest spotlight of her young WNBA career. But what was supposed to be her coming out party turned into something else entirely. In front of a sold-out crowd and millions watching at home, Angel Reese didn't rise. She vanished. And by the final buzzer, what remained wasn't just a loss on the scoreboard, it was a brutal unraveling of a superstar image built on swagger, not substance. And here's what made it even more brutal. The Indiana Fever, missing 3 key figures including their superstar Caitlin Clark, still obliterated the Chicago Sky by 27 points. What unfolded wasn't just a bad game, it was a public unraveling. Of the very narrative Angel Reese and the Sky had been building all season long, this game had everything going for it. The WNBA moved it to the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls and the largest NBA arena, with a capacity of over 20,000 fans. CBS cleared its primetime slot. No major sporting events were on. This was women's basketball's night, and for Angel Reese, it was marketed as a defining opportunity. With Caitlin Clark sidelined due to a quad injury, this was supposed to be the moment where Reese stepped into the spotlight as the main attraction. But the moment Clark's absence was confirmed, something strange and telling happened. Ticket prices collapsed. Premium seats dropped to as low as $3, less than the cost of a convenience store coffee. The demand evaporated. Why? Because the hype, it seemed, was tied to Clark, not Reese. Stat lines don't always tell the whole story, but in this case, they say more than enough. 4 points, 2 of 7 shooting, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 turnovers, a -23, plus-minus rating, 27 minutes played. It wasn't just that Angel Reese shot poorly, it was that she looked completely out of sync, visibly frustrated, and mentally overwhelmed from the opening tip. She missed 2 wide-open layups, one of which was so far off that it triggered audible groans from the crowd. Another was cleanly blocked. The CBS cameras didn't miss a thing. The visible head shakes, the muttered complaints, and the slow, defeated walk back to the bench. It wasn't just a poor outing, it was the kind of game that gets replayed in viral highlight reels for all the wrong reasons. The most damning part of the evening didn't come from the scoreboard, it came from the secondary ticket market. This game had been hyped as a showdown of WNBA rising stars, and the Sky pushed the idea that Angel Reese was every bit the box, office draw that Caitlin Clark was. Reese herself even said recently, "In 20 years, people will say women's basketball wasn't just about one person, it was about me too." But when Clark wasn't in the lineup, fans stopped caring. There were no long lines to get in early, no sellout, just row after row of empty resale tickets with prices dipping lower than stadium parking fees. In short, the public voted with their wallets, and it wasn't in Reese's favor. While Reese and the Sky floundered, the Indiana Fever thrived, without their head coach, without Sophie Cunningham, and without Caitlin Clark. Veteran guard Kelsey Mitchell stepped up with 17 points, steadying the offense and slicing through Chicago's defense. Ari McDonald signed on a hardship deal, came off the bench and delivered 12 points and 4 steals. Her hustle, court vision, and energy flipped the script and sent the Sky into a tailspin. Indiana played unselfish, fundamental basketball. They moved the ball well, recorded 20 assists on 27 made shots, and played with discipline and focus. Acting head coach Austin Kelly kept the team grounded and executed a flawless game plan. This wasn't the first time Indiana embarrassed Chicago this season. In fact, it's becoming a pattern. On May 17th, the Fever crushed the Sky by 35 points, 93-58 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Reese tried to get physical with Clark in that game, attempting to rattle the rookie with hard fouls and trash talk, but the plan backfired and the result was the same, a total beatdown. Now, 2 matchups into this so-called rivalry, Indiana leads 2-0 with an average margin of victory of 31 points. Instead of rising to the moment, Angel Reese has crumbled each time. And the contrast to Caitlin Clark, who's averaging more assists per game than Reese is averaging points, has only made things worse. One of the more biting critiques circulating after the game, the idea that Reese spends more time preparing pre-game outfits than preparing her actual game. She arrived at the United Center in a bold ensemble, styled boots, designer jacket, color-coordinated gloves. Her tunnel walk looked ready for the runway. But on the court, the execution was a different story. Flat-footed defense, missed assignments, and poor shot selection. The contrast between style and substance was painful, especially when the cameras repeatedly cut to frustrated expressions and slumped shoulders. This was supposed to be her breakout. Instead, it became her breakdown. To be fair, the Sky's issues extended beyond Reese. The entire team was ineffective. No player reached double-digit points. The team shot just 32% from the field. They managed only 52 points total, their lowest mark since 2011. But Reese's underperformance stood out precisely because of the expectations. This wasn't just another loss. It was the most publicized WNBA game of the week, possibly of the season so far, and Reese was supposed to be the centerpiece. She wasn't. Not even close. The Fever, meanwhile, have proven they're not just the Caitlin Clark show. They're a deep, disciplined, dangerous team, even without their top names. Mitchell, McDonald, Aaliyah Boston, Natasha Howard, they all contributed in big ways. The coaching was sharp. The execution was nearly flawless. The message, Indiana is for real, and they don't need one player to be dominant. What makes this collapse even more significant is how much had been invested in Reese, not just by her team, but by the league, the media, and a fan base hungry for new stars. She entered the WNBA with massive expectations, bolstered by a high-profile college career, major endorsement deals, and a magnetic presence on social media. The narrative was primed. Angel Reese wasn't just a player, she was a movement. But narratives only survive if they're backed up by performance. And when the moment finally came to validate all the hype, to silence the doubters and cement herself as more than just a marketing sensation, the reality didn't just fall short, it crumbled on national television. As for Angel Reese, the spotlight isn't going anywhere. If anything, it's only getting brighter and hotter. The cameras will keep rolling, the headlines will keep coming, and every move she makes from here on will be scrutinized under a national lens. But after this game, the conversation around her has shifted. The buzz is no longer just about her popularity, her brand, or her energy on and off the court. Now, the questions are deeper, more pointed, and harder to ignore. Is she truly ready for the weight that comes with being the face of a franchise? Can she deliver when the lights are brightest and the stakes are highest? Does she have the mentality to lead and win at the professional level? What should have been her night of ascension became a night of reckoning. All the confidence, all the swagger, all the pregame bravado evaporated in real time. Her poise, her presence, and her performance each collapsed under the pressure of the moment. The version of Angel Reese that had been celebrated as a future star was nowhere, to be found when it mattered most. The United Center was ready for a statement. It had the crowd, the cameras, and the national stage. It was set up to crown a new icon in the game. And yes, the crowd got a statement, but not from the player they were told to watch. While Indiana showed composure, depth, and championship-caliber play, Reese stumbled. In a league full of emerging stars fighting to define the next era of women's basketball, she had the spotlight, the story, and the chance to seize it. But when the moment came, Angel Reese didn't just miss her shot, she disappeared entirely. She had the lights, she had the platform, she had the chance. But in the game that could have defined her rise, Angel Reese left her game at home.